Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining me. So, guys, are we being hacked or what? Lots of people are messaging me saying that all the payment machines are down. I don't know if this is real. I don't know if it's happening. I paid with a card earlier on today, but I've had quite a few messages on this platform and our other saying, that payment machines are down. The reality is I don't know. I've done a small search online. I can't find anything. That doesn't mean it's not happening. All it means is what I've said for the longest time. If a private company, especially a financial one, is under hack, their systems go down for whatever reason, then they're never going to talk about it because people will lose faith in that company, they'll lose profits, their shareholders won't support them anymore, and they'll go bust. So that's the reality of the situation. Guys, what are we going to talk about today? Literally, things are happening so fast, like the last 24 hours, I was like, wow, that was wild. And this 24 hours, it seems like it's just as crazy. So, Poland have said they must prepare for a full-scale war. Russian sabotage, guys, it's happening, it's real. Mainstream media are reporting on it just as I said they would. China, you're seeing China slowly being dragged into this conflict. The UK have pledged £3 billion per year for Ukraine for as long as it takes. Also, Keir Starmer's also greenlit the use of Storm Shadow missiles to be used inside Ukraine. Now, what's the significance about that? Well, so the Storm Shadow missile and the Scalp missile, which is the French equivalent, they're long-range missiles, and they're long-range missiles. They're very sophisticated. They've got a lot of technology in them, and they can have devastating effect for the Ukrainians. Now, I'm going to caveat this. I'm going to stop being overcritical of the government because we're in a situation now where we've got the team we've got, and we've just got to make the best of it. I will still be call people out and be I'll criticise them, but I'll not be overly critical. So Keir Starmer's come out and he said that he will also allow the use of Storm Shadow missiles inside Russia. Now, this was already a done deal. There's no reason for Keir Starmer to re-emphasise this point. So my question is, why is this becoming public? Why is he making this public when it's already out there in the public? Why is he reiterating this fact? The two options are, one, he wants to make some noise. It sounds like he's making noise without saying anything. The second is he wants to send a signal to Russia that, this British government is still going to be as strong on Ukraine. They're still going to be, as critical of Russia, and they're still a strong ally of the Ukrainians. So, and what I always do, guys, I try and look at this from the Russian perspective. So look at the headlines from the Russian side of this, UK pledges to fire more missiles into Russia or something like that. So you see how these escalations move forwards, and each side, and the media has a lot to play with this, has a lot to answer for with this, because the media like to emphasize things and make things sound, more spectacular than they actually are. But the reality is, this thing's already been said. Keir Starmer's reiterating it, and it's just really strange that he's doing it now. One thing I do want to mention on these Storm Shadow missiles, and I think the Scalp as well, you and me can't just go up to a Storm Shadow missile and put some coordinates in there. I'm going to assume that these things need an encryption. These things need to have the right targeting information fed into it. I'm going to assume it doesn't run off Google Maps. So what I want to know is who's putting that information into the Storm Shadow missiles, because for example, if the UK are letting the Ukrainians do that, that means that the Ukrainians have full and unvetted, full access to British military, including encryption. I don't know how it's happening. I don't know what's going on with that. But who is putting the information into these Storm Shadow missiles? Who's targeting? And look at the things from the Russian side. These Russians are they're not stupid people. They know exactly what's happening. And the $3 billion per year pledged to Ukraine, guys, for as long as it takes. That is a lot of money. I mean, we hear these huge amounts of money being pledged, being bashed around from the United States. We're gonna give $200 billion quadrillion. you know. But for the United Kingdom, we're a lot smaller country. We don't have we don't have the GDP, and especially we don't have the world currency as our currency. So for the United Kingdom to pledge 3 billion per year and not give an end line on that is a huge commitment. Just to contextualize that, guys, that is the same as saying I'm going to give every member of the army, whether you're a private soldier or a colonel, I'm going to give you a £40,000 a year pay rise for as long as it takes. Now, I'm just putting it out there, guys. I'm telling you the maths. I'm not telling you whether I agree or disagree with it, because I'm not being overcritical anymore of the government. I'm just going to tell you what it is. Also, this NATO summit that's on, I was kind of going to do a recap when the summit was over. But NATO are now claiming, well, they're not claiming, they're saying that China is a decisive enabler of the Russian war. Now, what you're seeing the seedlings of this diversions. They're trying to bring China into this war so America can look at China and deal with the Chinese threat. Remember, they've already said it. The American military have said they don't want to shatter their spear in Ukraine. They want to wait because they know there's further conflicts coming with China, with Iran, in the Middle East, all over, guys. These things are not going away. If you've been following this channel, and especially our other channel, I said, guys, if this Rwanda bill ever happens, if any flights to Rwanda, guys, so if you're not from the UK, we've got an immigration, I don't want to call it immigration because it's not. We've got a lot of people coming to our country who've got no legal right to do so. At the moment, we're putting them up in hotels. The last government said that they've got a deal and they're going to send all these people who've come, they're going to send them to Rwanda, and it's a done deal. And Rishi Sunak, remember when Rishi Sunak was stood there and he was saying, the Rwanda flights are happening. Guys, I looked at him and I said, he knows he's lying. I actually said, if one flight to Rwanda leaves, I will eat my own hair. And guys, look at that beautiful, look at that beautiful black mane, guys. It's still there. So guys, the Rwanda, let me just read you what they're saying. So Rwanda has said it is not required to refund the UK after a multi-million-pound migrant deal between the two countries was scrapped. So as soon as the Labour government have got in there, they've scrapped this deal totally. The new UK Prime Minister and Labour Party leader, Keir Starmer, announced at the weekend that the plan to deport some asylum seekers to Rwanda was dead and buried. The scheme was forged by the previous Conservative government, which since revealing the plan in 2022 has paid, wait for it, £240 million. So guys, taxpayers have paid £240 million to Rwanda, and it's just been sacked. It's just been binned. Guys, I'd be really interested if somebody could do some investigative journalism and find out where that money actually went, and does the government or anybody who sent that money have links to those companies where that money went? Because guys, this to me just smells, I don't know, guys, it just doesn't seem right. Legal challenges meant the scheme never took off, and the UK expressed hope on Monday that some of the money from the deal could be recuperated. So basically on Monday they were saying, please let us have some money. Please let us have some of our money back. There's more. The following day, a spokesperson... Guys, this is hilarious. Sorry. The following day, a spokesperson for Rwanda's government told the country's state television, "Let this be clear, paying back the money was never part of the agreement." It's gone! 240 million. Guys, I would be happy with 5 of those millions. I'd buy a house in Derbyshire, I'd be happy. You'd never hear from me again. But guys, that's the situation. We've just sent £240 million to Rwanda, and we as the taxpayers have got absolutely nothing back from it, guys. I don't know, I don't know what happens now. Is it just a thing? Do we just throw our money away? guys, let me know what you think in the let me know what you think in the comments, guys, because I think it should be a national, absolute national disgrace. Now, guys, again, another one. Remember when I said, where are we, guys? I think this is it. Yeah. Remember when I said about the about sabotage, about these soft targets, grey warfare, and all these things coming together. I did a top 10 video of top 10 UK soft targets. Well, it's come out now. Mainstream media are reporting on it. It's an actual thing. Russian operators are, well, let me read it here. So this is from, I'll put the link in the bio, guys. This description, sorry. This is from CNN. Arsons at warehouses linked to arms for Ukraine. Surveillance cameras where NATO trains Ukrainian troops. Blunt vandalism of ministerial cars. Even an apparent failed bomb plot. Russia has been engaged in a bold sabotage operation across NATO member states for 6 months, targeting the supply lines of weapons for Ukraine and the decision makers behind it, according to a senior NATO official. Multiple security officials across Europe describe a threat as, guys, metastasizing. Guys, I don't even know what that word is. Tell me what that word is. As Russian agents increasingly under scrutiny by senior security officers and frustrated in their own operations. Here we are, guys. Hire local amateurs to undertake high-risk and often deniable crimes on their behalf. Guys, what have I been saying for the longest time? It makes no sense for Russia, China, Britain, America. It makes no sense for us, for them, whoever it is, to send your best tuxedo wearing, Rolex wearing, Aston Martin driving spy to these countries now. When look, you can hire local amateurs. You can just hire these criminal gangs, to commit these crimes, and you get the same effect. It's a lot cheaper and it's deniable. Guys, this is just a thing, this is just a sign of things to come, if you live in the West. Excuse me. So it came out yesterday that Poland must prepare for a full-scale conflict. Now, I'll put the links in the description to this, guys. What they're focusing on is they're focusing on recruitment. They're focusing on building their military on the eastern borders. They've got an eastern shield that they're building with the other Baltic states. This is as China and Belarus are exercising in that region. So that region on both sides now is going to become ridiculously militarized. Now, what I want to bring your eyes to, guys, is these bilateral agreements and these bilateral security agreements. And the devil is always in the detail. Remember what I've always said, guys, about these F16s, and I've said this for absolutely months. Now, initially, I noted this when the, what was it? When it came out that the Polish pilots, some Polish pilot came out and he did an article and he's like, oh, I wish I could intercept these missiles over Ukraine. And the argument is solid. Now, I said, guys, there's something to this. This is going to become bigger. Now, that was just the seed. Now, the article itself, it talked about Polish pilots, they're able to see these Russian missiles come in, and because they're not allowed to engage over Ukraine, that they can't fire them, but if they could only press that button, they could save civilian lives. And that is true. There's nothing wrong with that, guys. That is 100% true. What it does, it also murkies this water and it starts this... let me read you guys. So, Poland and Ukraine have got a bilateral security agreement. Now, you have to scroll... I'll put the link in the description. You have to scroll down a little bit to find the what they're actually talking about. So, the article itself talks about the types of security agreement that these guys are going to work on. Here we are, guys. Zelensky and Tusk also agreed to discuss the possibility of shooting down Russian missiles and drones fired in the direction of Poland. Several such weapons have crossed over Poland's airspace, but Warsaw has not intercepted them. So now they're relying on the other things that they've previously released a couple of months ago. and they're saying that now what they want to do is, and this thing will move forward, it will get to a stage where some sort of agreement is made between Ukraine and Poland, that Poland can intercept Russian missiles, incoming Russian missiles. This will advance further, and the next stage will be, okay, we're not going to scramble when we see a missile coming, we're going to fly regular sorties to make sure that we can intercept these missiles at the best, at the earliest time. Then it's going to be, oh, we're going to fly, defensive sorties over Ukrainian territory. And then, these things are going to progress. Now, when these F-16s come, guys, and I've said this till I'm blue in the face, they're going to be flown from Poland. And then it's going to be very difficult for the Russians to say, right, that is a Polish F-16 leaving on a defensive sortie, or that's a Ukrainian F-16 leaving on an offensive sortie. Because if these aircraft never fly over Russia and they get shot down, it's going to be very difficult to tell who's actually piloting them. And there's a strong argument that I've given that these pilots will be NATO trained pilots, in the sense that they may be American, they may be Americans used as part of the International Legion or paid for by some NGO. I don't know how they, how the mechanisms, guys, but the reality is they don't have enough pilots. So where are they going to get these pilots from? Guys, there are a lot of retired F-16 pilots with a lot of experience who are just itching to get behind the cockpit again, or in the cockpit again. So that's a situation where we are now, guys, all right? We've got escalations all the time. We've got Poland saying we must prepare for a full-scale conflict. We've got NATO slowly bringing China into this conflict. And it all looks like, these timescales for what we said, round about August, a little bit later. Guys, it kind of looks like that time frame is still on. Guys, I'm going to keep with what I said. Wait till the F-16 start flying and see what Russia's next move is, because then the Russians need to decide whether they're going to strike air bases in Poland or whether they're just going to let the Ukrainians fly out of Poland. Guys, that is it for today. I'm going to mag to grid, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.